Okay, good evening, everybody. So it's still the morning in France, but I know that it's it's the afternoon in Indonesia. Sorry, I don't speak Indonesian, so it would be in in English. So thank you, Sistar Indonesia, to invite me for this webinar. I'm very glad to be here. I want to thank you all the Indonesian veterinarians who are present for this webinar. And I also thank you, the Indonesian Veterinarian Medical Association. And to go back on my resume, so I started after my PhD, I started to work as a R&D manager at Dianov. Dianov is the laboratory who manufacture all the veterinarian products for ALVEDIA. So I started to work on the R&D and production for ALVEDIA, and now I'm working more with our distributors, our customers, to launch the new products and to be the technical and scientific support for our distributors. So again, thank you, everybody. And I'm gonna start with our. Here we go. So I'm going to start with the ALVEDIA Technology. So since 10 years, it's used worldwide by universities, animal blood banks, and veterinary laboratories. It's we have lots of publication, and it's the most reliable test worldwide. And this technology is based on the migration of the red blood cells on the membrane. And so it's the immunochromatographic technique for blood typing, cross-matching, and we are using specific monoclonal antibodies of each antigen. So it's for the DA1 in dogs, and we have a monoclonal antibody against the A antigen and B antigen in cats. And we also have blood typing for horse. And these monoclonal antibodies have been incorporated on the membranes. And then when you have the blood coming up on the strip, these antibodies will retain positive red blood cells, and you will have a red line if it's positive. So we have several strengths for this technology. It's reliable even with critical blood samples. It means that when you have auto-agglutinated blood samples, the agglutinated red blood cells will be retained at the bottom of the membrane, and whereas the non-agglutinated red blood cells will carry on migrating along the membrane. Our technology works also with low PCV when you have anemic blood samples, and it's thanks to the sensitivity of monoclonal antibodies. Even with a low PCV, you will get reliable blood type results. And from the DA1 monoclonal antibodies, we can detect all range of DA1 intensity from very weak to strong DA1 positive dogs. So I will explain this on my next order. Here we go. So before going through the blood typing and cross-matching, we have a very, very high quality control at ALVEDIA. So we provide scientific support and information to all our customers. So that's why if you have a question regarding our test, you can contact us directly by email. And we are working closely with our distributor. So you can contact your distributor who will be able to see with us. Okay. So we are involving to resolving products issue when you can see some issue. So sometimes you can have a case of very, very strong auto-agglutination, a very, very low PCV. So you wonder if the line is positive, negative, if it's a false positive. So you can contact us, and you have different cases with EMHA, choline, and so we know very well this kind of issue. So we will be all the time present to help you to resolve this issue. We have a very, very strong traceability system, so we can see from the beginning to the end of the production, we are able to identify each reagent. So the monoclonal antibodies, the buffer that we are using, all batch are writing on the test. so we can follow our product during the entire shelf life of the product range we have. So, as I said, each test will have a specific lot number for the strip and another one for the buffer solution. And so, with this policy, we are able to proceed to a lot recall at any time and all over the world. And so, we have this scientific team is dedicating to providing a product that will be reliable during the entire product shelf life. It means that we have all our batches are available on the market. They are tested every 3 months. And so if a problem occurs, we will be able to recall only the lot concerned and replace it by a new product for free, of course. So let's start with the blood groups. So in the canine species, so the different canine blood types are described as dog erythrocyte antigen, so DEA. So for now, we know a dozen or 8, it depends, 8 DA types have been identified through studies. It has been described that the antigen DA1 is the most immunogenic. So it means that you have to transfuse DA1 compatible blood. So if you transfuse compatible blood, it won't cause acute or delayed immunological transfusion reaction if you are doing a mismatched DA1 transfusion. So it's very important to blood type the dog before any transfusion. So then there is another blood group was described several years ago by Marie-Claude Blais at Montreal in Canada. So DAL is the blood type known in dogs. So we think that it would be interesting to produce very soon and to manufacture a DAL blood group test to avoid any acute transfusion reaction. So you can see that the dog blood group system are inherited independently, which allow them to coexist on the surface of the red cells, allowing dogs to have more than one blood types. Dogs rarely possess any naturally occurring alloantibodies. The main cause of alloantibodies originated from previous transfusion with incompatible blood. For now, there are some very, very few studies talking about anti-DA7 naturally occurring antibodies in some dogs, but we never find some acute reaction after the first transfusion between DA7 mismatch transfusion. About the DA1 system. So that's why we are doing this blood typing test, because it's the most important system for its strongest antigenity. So you will have different intensities on our test, because it will depend on the number of antigen present on the surface of the red blood cells. So when you have a lots of DA antigen on red blood cell surface, we're going to say that it is a strong DA1 positive dog. And the prevalence is around 60 and 75% of DA1 positive dogs against DA1 negative dogs between 25 and 40%. And then you can have a smaller amount of antigen on the red blood cell surface. And so we call weak positive dogs. So there was a study published 7 years ago by very well-known Urs Giger's. And before, I know that you know this information, but a long time ago, we were typing for DA1.2 and DA1.1, sorry, and DA1.2 dogs. And in fact, it appears that it's only one system, DA1, and with our very sensitive monoclonal antibodies, we are capable to detect all range of DA1 positive dogs. And this study demonstrates that, in fact, the weak DA1 positive dogs was the previous DA1.2 dogs. So that's why now we don't talk about DA1.1 and 1.2. They are all DA1 positive dogs. So you can see the different results with the strips. when you have a strong line, it's a strong DA1 positive dog. When you have a normal line, it's a moderate positive dog. And even if you have a weak line, this dog is a weak positive dog, but it remains a positive dog. Even the intensity you will have, it's a positive dog. It's not the weak line. It's not a false positive. It's a positive dog. So these three results on the top, so the strong and moderate and weak, these results have to be considered as positive dogs. So concerning the compatibility between donor and recipient, of course, you have to do a match DA1 transfusion. It means that if you have a recipient who is 1 positive, you have to give us some blood from a donor who is DA1 positive. But you can also, if you don't have positive blood in stock, you can use a DA1 negative blood. On the contrary, if the recipient is a DA1 negative blood, you must give blood from a DA1 negative donor only, because if you put some positive blood in a negative recipient, it will develop very, very strong alloantibodies against DA1 antigen. So, we are based very close to Lyon, and so we work very closely to the vet school in Lyon, and they have ICU department, and one day they accidentally did a mismatch DA1 transfusion. So the recipient was mismatched, and they gave to the recipient DA1 positive blood, and so it was he received only 1 transfusion in November 2017. And in January, we did a cross-match between the recipient and the donor, and it was positive. So the recipient has developed anti-DA1 alloantibodies, and thanks to the cross-match result, if a second transfusion is performed with DA1 positive, it will give a severe hemolytic reaction. So thanks to the cross-match test, we can find positive blood if this dog needs a second transfusion. So the major strength of the canine blood typing test, it's a very, very quick procedure, 2 minutes. You have all material included. It's easy handling, reliable results. It's very easy to interpret, a line, no line, positive, negative. It's 100% specific. It detects the weak DA1, so all range of DA1 antigen. It's reliable in case of low PCV, and it's reliable in case of autoagglutination. Okay, so you can see on the picture on the bottom left, when it's autoagglutinated, when you can see you have agglutinated red blood cell at the bottom of the membrane, but you have still blood, non-agglutinated blood cell, which are migrating on the strip, and you can see the line. And we have some troubleshooting procedure in case of very, very strong autoagglutination. It's due to sometimes EMHA, it's due to severe anemia, icterus. So sometimes when the autoagglutination is too strong, there is no migration. So we have a troubleshooting procedure that consists in washing the red blood cells, the blood 3 times, and to make the blood typing again. It's reliable also in case of low PCV. So you have different sample of anemic blood samples, and sometimes we advise to, when the dog or the cat is very, very anemic, is to centrifuge the blood samples and then to remove the plasma, and you can make the blood typing test by using the packed red blood cell instead of the whole blood. Like that, you can have a better sensitivity of the results. So I'm gonna show you the presentation of the canine easy quick test. So this is the quick test that PT Sistar is processing from us and selling in Indonesia. So for those who see our ALVEDIA presentation, it was the presentation of the canine quick test. Here it's the easy quick test. It's the same. It's the same technology. Nothing changed. It's just the packaging, because we know that it's the cheap and cost. It's very expensive in Asia. So we make an easy quick test without the plastic device, in order to have a smaller package to send in Asia. But it's the same technology, nothing changed. You have the same antibodies, the same buffer, everything. So it's the individual packaging. You have all material included. You can store at room temperature. So in each package, you have 1 membrane blood typing. You have a buffered solution. You have a blood collector strip. So this is the small strip with the red arrows, and at the end of the red arrows you have it's the, how do you say, it's the glass fiber that allow you to collect 10 microliters of blood. You have, of course, a procedure, a schematic procedure guide, and on the back of the procedure you have a result form. I will show you after. So the procedure is very simple. In the test tube that you have in the test, you can add 3 drops of buffer solution. And then with the blood collector strip, you can see on the second picture, you dip the blood collector strip into the blood tube, and then you can mix in the test tube where you have the 3 drops of buffer, and then you have your blood solution ready for the blood typing. Then you can insert the blood typing membrane. You will see for the canine, it's a blue arrow on the top. So you take by the blue arrow and you dip into the test tube where you have your blood solution. And you wait 2-3 minutes for a complete migration until you have the control line. The control line must clearly appear. And then when you have the control line, you can say that the test is done. You can see, so the result form in dogs, you can put the date, you can put the name of dog, the identification code if you have one for the dog, the name of the person who did the typing test, and then you can put the lot number of the easy quick test that you are using. And then you can, depending on the result, you can see the C is the control line, so you must see this line. And then if you have a line in front of the DA1, even if the line is strong, normal, or very weak, you can put a cross on the DA1 positive result. If you have no line at all in front of the DA1, it means the dog is DA1 negative. So on this example that you can see right now on the slide, the dog is a positive. So you already saw this slide, but I think it's very important to be aware that a strong, moderate, or weak line in front of the DA1, you have to consider the DA1 dog as positive. A dog which is DA1 positive, weak or moderate or strong blood group, can give blood to a DA1 positive dog only. The intensity of the DA1 does not matter in terms of compatibility. Okay, it's the same thing. Example, a dog which is DA1 positive dog, blood group, can give blood to a DA1 strong positive dog. Be careful, because a DA1 weak positive cannot give blood to a DA1 negative blood. It was a study that was made several years ago. When we discovered the different intensities of the DA1, we were wondering if the previous DA1.2 dogs, which is now the DA1 weak positive dog, if the DA1 weak positive dog can be as immunogenic as the DA1 strong positive dog. So a small study was made by injecting a small amount of DA1 weak positive blood to a negative dog, and the negative dog developed a very, very strong DA1 alloantibodies. So when you type a donor as DA1 weak positive dog, you don't transfuse this blood from this donor to a negative blood. Concerning the feline blood groups, 3 feline blood groups have been described. They are A, B, or AB. Blood type A is the most frequent blood group, type B is most less frequent, and type AB is extremely rare. It depends the race of the cat, it depends on the country, so it will be maybe different, the percentage of AB and AB cats will be different in Indonesia than in France. And unlike dogs, it's the most difference between cats and dogs. Cats possess naturally occurring antibodies. These antibodies can be responsible for transfusion reaction and neonatal isoelectrolysis. Sorry. So when the cat is A blood type, it got a lot of anti-B, okay? But it depends. It's some A cats don't have anti-B alloantibodies. The percentage is approximately 35%. But when a cat is type B, it's got a very, very high anti-A alloantibodies. And of course, blood types AB cats don't have naturally occurring alloantibodies. Okay? Same as the dog. So you have on the left, you have a red blood cell from an A cat. So the cats possess antigen A. Then you have B cats with antigen B, and you have AB cats with antigen A and B. Okay, so it's the prevalence in France that you have. A blood type, it's like 83%. B blood type, it's 12%, and AB blood type is around 5%. It's in France. It differs following the country. Okay, so type A cats have weak anti-B alloantibodies. Many, but not all, type A cats are born with anti-B alloantibodies. Transfusion of B blood in type A cats, it will be a shortened red blood cell survival. But type B cats have very strong anti-A antibodies. Transfusion of type A blood in type B cats, you will get a rapid hemolytic destruction of donor red blood cells and the death of the recipients. Type AB cats have no antibodies against either type A or B. They should receive, they should receive either AB or A blood, only red blood cell, to take out the anti-B antibodies in the plasma. Okay, so you can see the AB compatibility before transfusion. So type A can only receive A-type blood products. Type AB cats can receive AB or A-type blood products, but only red blood cells. Let me explain. It's very rare to find an AB donor. So when you have an AB recipients needed in blood transfusion and you don't find AB cats, you can use a donor which is A blood type. But you have to remove the plasma because A cats can have weak anti-B alloantibodies, so you have to remove the plasma. You can use B blood to transfuse AB cats because B cats have very, very strong anti-A antibodies. And even if you remove the plasma, you have a risk of transfusing anti-B alloantibodies. So that's why we put only red blood cell from an A donor. And B cats can only receive B-type products. Same thing as the canine blood typing test. It's a 2-minute procedure. It's 100% specific, detects all AB cats, and same as dogs, you can use in case of low PCV. If the cat is very, very anemic, as I said, you can centrifuge the blood sample and remove the plasma and do the blood typing by using only 10 microliters of packed red blood cells. Presentation. Okay. So feline procedure, I will go through very quickly. It's the same thing, okay. And at the end, you have the same result form in cats, and you can see on the picture, you have the control line, C, And then, you have no line in front of the A, but you have a line in front of the B. So it means the cat is B, okay? And if the line in front of the A, but no line in front of the B, the cat is A. And concerning the AB cats, you will have two lines, a line in front of the A and a B in front of a line in front of the B. Be aware that you can have different intensities between the A line and the B line. It will be the difference. It's because you can have different amount of antigens on the red blood cell surface. So AB cats, you have the antigen, red blood cells. You can have a lots of A antigen and few B antigen. So you're gonna have a very, very A strong line and a weak B line. In the reverse, if you have a lots of B antigen and very few A antigen, you will have a very, very strong line in front of the B and a weak line in front of the A. Depending on the intensities of the line, it means your cat is AB. If you have a strong A line and a weak B line, the cat is AB. If you have a weak A line and a strong B line, the cat is still AB. Okay? You can see the different result. You have always the control line. Then for a B cat, you have a B line. A cat, you have an A line. And of course, a B cat, you have two lines. Here it's the same intensities, but again, you can have different intensities of the line, but the cat is still AB. So you will see on this table the advantages of ALVEDIA's technology versus the agglutination card. So it's our competitor. So our technology, it's immunochromatographic. It's very, very easy to use. There is no training. It's very easy interpretation. It's reliable in case of autoagglutination and low PCV, and you can, it's an archivable result. On the contrary, agglutination cards, it's an agglutination reaction. It's very hard to interpret the result. It's not reliable for autoagglutination. You can have false positive. It's not reliable for low PCV, and you can archivable the blood cards. Concerning the canine, we are using a very, very specific anti-DA1 antibody, monoclonal antibodies. So it detects all the DA1 antigen range from the weak to the strong. It's very, very specific because we do all the time a comparison with the flow cytometry. Concerning the competitor, it does not detect weak DA1 antigen. It detects only the DA1.1. I think they are still talking about DA1.1 and not 1.2. And it's low specificity compared to flow cytometry. For the feline, it's reliable to detect all AB blood groups. The competitor does not correctly detect AB blood groups. We are actually doing a study with our distributor in Portugal. And our distributor in Portugal is getting a lot of AB blood group. So he's doing all the time both tests, our test and our competitor test. And all the time the cat is AB, and on the competitor test, they detect either the A, either the B, but they don't detect AB. Okay, so it was the first part of my presentation. It's blood group. It's very important to blood groups, all the dogs and all the cats. Then for the transfusion, you have the cross-match test, so the compatibility testing before any transfusion. So cross-matching determines the serological compatibility between the patient and donor bloods based on an agglutination reaction, allowing detection of alloantibodies, naturally occurring antibodies like in cats, or previous sensitization in cats and dogs. The principle of the cross-match test is very basic. So you have two different tests. You have the major cross-match and you have the minor cross-match. The major cross-match is when you transfuse donor red blood cells to a recipient. So you have to do the test between recipient serum against donor red blood cells. When you are doing the minor cross-match, it means that you are transfusing plasma from a donor to a recipient. So you have to test the donor serum against the recipient red blood cells. When you are doing a whole blood transfusion, it means that you are doing whole blood from a donor to a recipient. It means you have to test the red blood cells from the donor to the plasma of the recipient, and you have to test also the plasma from the donor to the red blood cells from the recipient. So you have to do two cross-match, the major and the minor, when you are doing a whole blood transfusion. If you are doing packed red blood cells transfusion, you just have to do the major. If you are doing a plasma transfusion, you have to do the minor cross-match. So, concerning the feline cross-matching, I put a big warning because the cross-match does not determine the blood type. So be careful. It's two different tests. You have to blood type first the donor and the recipient, and to do the cross-match. And as I told you, domestic cats have one major blood group system, the AB system, which types A, B, and AB. Type A cats have no or weak anti-BL antibodies, but type B cats have very strong anti-AL antibodies. And type AB cats have no naturally occurring antibodies. But there is some other studies that show that there is maybe other antigen as the MIC, because they did a long time ago some cross matches between two A cats or two B cats, and the cross match was incompatible. And they discovered the MIC antigen, and this antigen has been proposed as an additional feline blood group system, which potentially naturally occurring antibodies in some MIC negative cats. So that's why in cats, it is essential to perform cross-matching in addition to AB typing before a first transfusion. First, due to the potential presence of naturally occurring antibodies outside of the AB system, such as anti-MIC. So you're going to blood type, the donor and the recipient, they are both A cats. You need to do a cross-match before the first transfusion, because such as the anti-MIC antigen, we don't know, but it's very important to do the cross-match. So the importance of cross-matching in the literature, when to cross-match for the feline species before the first transfusion with the determination of the blood type in parallel. If the patient has ever received any blood transfusion before, if it has been 5 days since initial transfusion in case of second transfusion. So you have different scientific papers who make the statement of the importance of cross-matching. So even between compatible cats, you need to do the cross-match test before any first transfusion. Concerning the canine cross-matching, same thing, big warning, the cross-match does not determine the blood type. So as I said, dogs have many blood types on the surface of their red blood cells, and with the absence of test kits for all these blood groups, except for the A1, it is mandatory to perform a reliable cross-match test before any transfusion. So we don't know, but originally the DA1, the DS system described blood types 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9. And alloantibodies existing against DA3, 5, and 7 have been documented, but it's not proved. But we don't know, and unlike DA1 antibodies, they have not been found to cause immediate transfusion reaction. So additional antigen continue to be discovered, and which do not conform to the DA1 system. So Marie-Claude Blais discovered the DAL antigen in 2007 after a Dalmatian had received repeated transfusion. 2 additional antigen from in South Korea, it's Kai1 and Kai2, were identified in 2017. While no naturally occurring antibodies to the Kai system have been discovered, alloantibodies against Kai were detected in previously transfused dogs. There are likely many antigens still unidentified, and it makes it impossible to perfectly match a canine transfusion to prevent reaction. Several studies emphasize that blood typing matching alone does not guarantee transfusion safety. So for a first transfusion, you have to blood type for DA1 because it is the most antigenic, immunogenic antigen. So you have to do all the time a DA1 compatible blood transfusion, but you have to do also a cross-match test to avoid any delayed acute reaction for the first transfusion. Of course, for the second transfusion, because we don't have blood typing test for the other group, for a second or several transfusion, you need to do the cross-match test before the transfusion. So when to cross-match for the canine cases, if the patient has ever received any blood transfusion before, if the patient is pregnant or has been pregnant, if it has been 5 days since initial transfusion. So you have also different scientific papers who show the importance of doing the cross-matching before any transfusion. So the cross-matching with ALVEDIA STRIP. So the advantage compared with the standard measure method is that our ALVEDIA cross-match test worked in case of auto-agglutination. So I'm going to show you an example of positive major cross-match results. So the first step, so major cross-match, first step, you take the recipient serum. Let's say there is already alloantibodies in the serum. And then you take the red blood cell from the donor that you mix with the serum plasma from the recipient. Then you have an incubation, you have a washing step procedure, step 4. And then you can put the cross-match strip on the wash blood. And then you have the blood which is migrating along the strip. And if it's positive, it will be recognized by the canine antiglobulin reagent on the strip, and you will have a positive result, so a line. You will get a line. It's different than the standard method, which is hard to interpret. So this is our canine cross-match quick test kit. So you can see the 25 minutes procedure. You have everything inside the canine to perform one cross-match. So you have the cross-match, you have the blood collector strip, you have empty well, small tube, you have all the buffer. You just need 10 microliters of packed red blood cells and around 500 microliters of plasma. You can see that on our procedure, we put a QR code. So you can flash the code and you will get the movie procedure. We did a movie procedure that will show you every step of the cross-match test. You can see here on this slide the different cross-match quick test results. So when the cross-match is negative, you have in front of the cross-match no line. It means it indicates the absence of circulating alloantibodies. The donor blood is compatible with the recipient. So red light, safe transfusion. When you have a line in front of the cross-match, and even if the line is weak, moderate or strong, the cross-match is positive. A positive result +2, 3+ in front of cross-match indicates the presence of circulating alloantibodies. So the donor blood is incompatible with the recipient. Do not transfuse. You have to find another donor. So actually, PT Sistars is selling the individual test. It's the canine quick test cross-match. So this individual test which allow you to perform one cross-match test. If you want, we have another packaging. It's the lab version, so called the lab test cross-match. It's a box of 5 tests. So you have everything inside. It's like you have 5 individual cross-match tests in a box. And you can perform one cross-match test today and close the box and do another cross-match test in 2 days. You can do 2 tests at a time. It's up to you. So it's like a bulk version. Concerning the cross-match product we have, so we know that you are aware about the canine canine cross-match. So you have the quick test and the lab test version. But we also have the lab test Crossmatch for feline. So it's the same as the lab test Crossmatch canine. It's a box with 5 tests inside. And now we only have this, but in 1 or 2 months, we're gonna launch the individual Crossmatch for feline. So it's like the quick test Crossmatch for canine, but it will be an individual test for feline. We also made a product called the EMA Crossmatch Test Feline. EMA, it's for emergency matching. It's a tray where you have everything, all the material to perform 2 crossmatch tests. We did this tray, this EMA Crossmatch Test Feline, only for the feline, because we know that in Europe and in the States, they do packed red blood cells transfusion in dogs or plasma transfusion in dogs. But in cats, they do a lot of whole blood transfusions. So when you are doing a whole blood transfusion in cats, you need to do both crossmatch tests, the major and the minor. So we did this tray where you can do the both tests, the major and the minor for feline. We are thinking about developing the same test for canine, because when you are doing a whole blood transfusion in dogs, you need to do the major and the minor. So maybe this kind of packaging would be better than using 2 individual tests. Okay, thank you for your attention, and you have all our information on this slide. If you need to contact us for information on our products, you can contact our distributor, PT Sistar, but you can contact us directly. And if you have some issue with our products, you can contact us by email. So don't forget to, it's very important for us to, for our quality control process, to get a picture of the test. So if you have an issue with our test, take a picture and send us to us with the information of the issue, and we will be very pleased to assist you. Again, thank you very much for your attention.